Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media for our friends at Santa Anita. Loaded day of racing on Saturday. We've got stakes action galore, including some Kentucky Derby clues that will be coming courtesy of the Robert Lewis Stakes, one of the races we'll be talking about on the show. We've got a great panel of experts to go through it. I do want to give a little shout out to a few of the wagers that are happening at Santa Anita on Saturday. Of course, you can check out the Coast to Coast and Sunset 6 bets that connect betting from Gulfstream Park. Last three races there for the Sunset 6 and the last three here. But in addition to this $2 pick six of races we're going to be talking about, you have terrific opportunities as a horse player to participate in things like the all-turf pick 3, the late double with its player-friendly terms, and also the late pick 3 with same. We're going to get to all those races, but we are going to kick off talking about this pick 6. I'll throw it right to our first guest, the man standing next to me, or so it appears on your screen, Jonathan Kinchin. How do you want to light this candle for Santa Anita's Saturday pick 6?
Well, it's race 4, right?
It is.
Okay, just making sure. Sometimes I get nervous that I did that wrong. I know I say this all the time, but when it comes to California racing and you have these maiden races, you're lucky to have the opportunity to look at the workout report. A lot of times when it comes to these maidens, we're guessing based on pedigree, based on trainer angles, based on purchase price, pedigree, things like that. So I will say that for sure. Another thing I've learned over the last, feels like it's been punching me in the face over the last couple of years, is horses with experience can be faster than the next fastest horse in the world. A horse that's been around there once, kind of is shown to run okay. I guess we'll find out after this video. But I mean, a horse like Positive Times is one I think I would have no problem using. Got stuck down on the inside a little bit there late. Possibly would appreciate the experience and going a little bit different, going a little bit better there. And then the Tommy Norris, another one who, if you look through his past performances, I know he looks like one of those maidens who doesn't want to win. My new pet trick is to look at the prices of those maidens that don't want to win. And he's only been favored. He was favored on debut. Okay. He ran second. You have an excuse to lose on debut. And he was a short price last time. He didn't run great. The rest of the times he's been 5-3-1. He's kind of run where you think he should run. So I'll use him as well. And then I'm going to reserve the right to look at these workouts for these maidens. The 2 and the 4 will definitely be A's for me, and then I'll fill in the maidens based on the workout report.
Makes sense. Maybe our next guest will have some special insight into Positive Times and the rest of these that are going to be competing in this 3-year-old state-bred maiden. Michelle, welcome to the program, and how are things?
Oh, things are great. Just getting ready to head out to school over here in a few minutes. Positive Times wasn't quite ready to go on debut. We did want to get a race into him, so I certainly think he can improve. He was a little bit green in that particular race, and you can see he's had good workouts going into there, and I think that it was a little disappointing as bad as he ran, but he did get tired. So I think coming back, he comes back with a couple more strong 5 furlong works. And I think that's going to be beneficial to him, obviously, having back-to-back 5 furlong drills. So I think he's super usable in here. I also liked Mark Glatt's horse, Parnell Jones. First-time gelding, first-time Lasix. He ran well on debut. If I'm going to give him a little knock, it's the horses that beat him. I don't know if they've come back to do anything, but he pressed a pretty quick pace and then just settled for third. But he also should be good moving forward, especially with the equipment changes there. And the 2 first-time starters, JK said he's going to reserve waiting for the workout reports. I'll give you just kind of a mild workout report from what I've seen. Trojan Mafia in his most recent drill going 49 and change, he broke okay from the gate. He got into stride really quickly, and then his rider was like, you know what, this is going to be too fast. And his rider like pulls up on him and kind of like veers him outside. And I thought for a second he was like going around a horse on the rail, but he wasn't. And he got him to kind of just slow down and rate. So he might have just, that 49 drill from the gate, I feel like could have been a lot faster if he had let him run. Also, maybe he wouldn't have finished. I don't know. But it was, I would say it was intentionally in that time frame. And Mullins is firing on all cylinders. I wouldn't be afraid of him. And then Shady Gem actually worked in a trio of horses out of the gate, and he was on the outside. He broke great, and then he was all of a sudden 2.5 in front. Horses trying to come from behind. He's looking for him all over. A horse comes up inside and gives him a little bit of run for his money, but overall, super good drills for him. So of the debuters, I think Shady Gem probably most poised to pounce on debut.
2, 5, 6, 7 numbers Michelle will be looking at, 2 and 4 for JK. I'll clarify something, and I'll say hello to those of you who are watching this streaming on Saturday morning. Don't worry, they haven't, they do things different out in California, but they're not making them go to school on Saturdays just yet. We are pre-recording this, and hello to those of you watching it in real time on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. We encourage you to subscribe over there.
I
like Parnelli.
I do feel like if there was a state that decided school on a Saturday made sense. I'm just kidding. It wouldn't be California.
Probably
I
Texas.
say that from one of the most backward states in the entire world, Texas.
I feel like if anyone did it, it would be Florida, or they would say no school. Like either Florida would be like school every day, or you know what? Screw school. We don't need school. Like
great point.
I'm with you on Parnelli Jones here, comparatively unexposed, bet first time out in a tougher maiden than this. You mentioned that the top 2 have not run back yet. There have been 3 run backs from the field. They all equaled or exceeded their figures at least. Comes back here as a first time gelding, has a good draw. And I, too, noticed that work 2 back from Shady Gem, Michelle, and thought was includable off that. 5 and 7 for me. Let's proceed to the first of the stakes races. We're going to talk about Grade 3 Thunder Road going a mile on the turf. And I'll state the obvious. Number 4, El Patente is going to be tough to catch in here. Michelle, are you with El Patente or against, and why?
I mean, it's kind of hard to look away from him getting back to a route of ground, which I think is his ideal when he can be loose on the lead going 2 turns. When you end up down the hill, I feel like, there's a lot more speed in there than he probably wants to tangle with. And in that last instance, they went 20 and change. And then obviously the mile and
Michelle froze for me.
Yeah,
are you there? Okay, let's see. We are recording this locally. We might be able to fix it in post, or hopefully
I would not let him be uncontested. I mean, previously Watsonville could press the pace. Lord Boldington 2 back did go gate to wire at Churchill Downs. So if you guys that have horses in this race are smart, I would not allow El Patente to get loose on the lead.
Okay.
But it is. I feel like the race does run through him because of that pace scenario. And I'd probably take a look at them in the paddock. Like Namron, I remember we did this show and I didn't like Namron as much as the Thomas horses. And he was coming off a little bit of a break and it was good turf that day. This horse can move forward now with that recent race under his belt, onto firm ground. And I'd like to see him just look a little fitter. 4
and 5 for you, the main numbers, Michelle?
Would I be a bad person if I wanted to completely dump off El Patente? I mean, yeah,
no.
4 and 5 are the look. I loved Gas Me Up in the Hernandez, but I don't know if he's as effective going the mile. Maybe he's just a different horse now. He obviously won a mile at Woodbine, but he was so explosive in the Hernandez, and it just set up for him with that wicked fast pace. I don't know how he's going to do at the Southern California mile. If he's not the favorite and his price looks okay, I think I could include him. But I couldn't stick him on top as like the odds-on favorite because I just don't know what he's going to do at a mile.
He's interesting.
He's my hedge horse right here.
I gotcha. My read on Gas Me Up was he's a classic. Last time was the time, and I was very surprised to see his 6-5 as opposed to 2-1 on El Patente. That would be my very clear play, bet of the day kind of play in here if those prices hold. JK, how do you see it? How do you split Gas Me Up and El Patente and all the rest?
Yeah, I couldn't really split them. I mean, El Patente obviously is tactical enough to be able to kind of not control on the front end unless he wanted to be. I mean, he could be on the front if he wanted to be, but he's at least going to be in a comfortable stalking position forward, not having to do too much. I love the idea of tossing a last time turf sprinting stretch out type, but the way this race lays out, small field, drawn the rail, Gas Me Up's going to be glued to the rail until the 8th pole. And then when they get to the 8th pole, the geometry hopefully will come into play. The horse has saved enough ground to have at least a fraction of the kick that he had last time in the Joe Hernandez. And I think he could be tough in terms of the dynamics of this race, because I don't think El Patente is going to be the type that's going to go, 22-45 and really use his speed as a weapon against a horse like Gas Me Up. I feel like Gas Me Up is going to get invited into the race and be able to save ground on both turns.
1 and 4 for you?
I think the key to Gas Me Up, really, if you are trying to decide whether to use him or not, is look at who he's been facing, right? He dominated the Hernandez, so we'll take that out. But then he was in the Breeders' Cup behind Notable Speech and Formidable Man. And then he was in the Woodbine Mile behind Notable Speech and My Way Prince. I mean, we're talking really good horses. When you compare it to what El Patente has been beating, SEAL Team and Old Air Force Red, Irish. I mean, we're not even in the same realm of caliber of horse. So in theory, Gas Me Up should be the best in this field, right?
He's a class horse for sure. There's no denying it. Maybe I'm overrating my idea that last time was the time, but for now anyway, I'm going to be stubborn and try to get through with El Patente. Let's pivot to race number 6. We've got grade 2 action in the form of the D. Wayne Lukas Stakes. And once again, since I am master of the obvious, I will just throw out my idea that Splendora back to the races is going to get a great setup and simply looks like the fastest horse. The 2 runbacks, interestingly, from that filly and mare sprint have both improved their figures significantly. I thought it was all about Splendora. JK, are you with or against this Breeders' Cup winner?
Yeah, it's funny is that I'm with. If Formula Rosa hadn't run the last race, which disappointed me, off her back races, I would have taken on Splendora with her. But in her last race, where she was clearly laid out to run her best race in the La Brea, why wouldn't she be? She disappointed me quite a bit there. She was wide, but still broke a little slow and was wide. She didn't have a great trip. Splendora for me, if there's some scratches where I can afford it and it makes sense, I'll do a backup ticket with Formula Rosa, but I'm pretty deep the rest of the way. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to die on the Splendora sword, and I'm willing to do that.
I'll put in the notes we send around to our In the Money Plus people. Lots of great Kentucky Derby coverage over there, by the way. inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. Over there, I will list Formula Rosa for you as a C. Michelle, how do you see it? Is it all about those two? How do you prefer Splendora like we do, or are you in the Formula Rosa camp?
Yeah, I mean, Splendora's done nothing wrong in her whole career, so it's hard to say, oh, gosh, this guy Baffert can't get it done. I certainly think that it's her race to lose, and I'm on JK's side. If you have some money to spend, add Formula Rosa. But as a person that hates the single, this to me is the most logical single. This is a heads and shoulders above El Patente single all day.
Okay, I get it. Only reason I would potentially argue with that is the price. It's so nice when you are going to single to be able to do that with one who is not going to be the favorite potentially. But I take your point in terms of likeliness of winning. There's no arguing with you. So with that in mind, we'll go to race number 7 as we do kick off. This will be leg 2 of the all-turf pick 3 that would have started back in race 5, and it will also kick off the late pick 3. $3 minimum, 15% takeout here. And we've got optional claiming state breds with a first level allowance condition. Michelle, we'll keep it with you. No pun intended.
So funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that.
I like the 2, Sir Percival, in here for Patty Gallagher. Really, the last 2 outs hasn't done anything wrong, and we don't ever expect Patty to win first time out. So for me, I just, I draw a line right through that. The fact that this horse actually got his act together so quickly to me is a big positive, because like I said, we don't see Patty horses getting that much traction early. They generally are the sort to take, a couple of starts, a couple of outs to really kind of find out where they're going to fit in. Other than that, this is a big crapshoot. Probably just the favorite, Worm and Sun and Brew from Mark Glatt. And part of that is connections. Part of that is the horse, what he's been doing. I mean, he's never been out of the exacta. He did win going a mile. Came off the bench, I thought, with a pretty good race that to me seemed like he certainly wanted more ground. And that's what he's going to be able to get today, is that back to 2 turns, which I think is a big plus for him. He's also relatively versatile. He did break his maiden gate to wire. He's come from just off of it when they've gone too quick for him up front. I think Straight Up Country will try to wire the field again if he can get out there, but Cullen J most likely going to be your leader from the inside. So, and he can hang around for a piece also. If you're playing exotics, I would definitely use him. But for on top, I'm going to use the 2, Sir Percival, and the 7, Warm Sun and Brew. Nothing extremely creative there.
I'm with you on Warm Sun and Brew. Just very obvious. Second time against winners. You mentioned the race last time, chasing a loose leader who just freaked that day. 1 run back from that race, ran very well, has that push button look that you point out, Michelle, and should get a better setup. I did think Freeport Joe did look like the one to benefit if they go too fast. And the thing that intrigued me here is some lower profile connections. I thought maybe you're going to get a better than should be price on a horse that could be the best closer. I had it 7 and 8. And Michelle had it 2 and 7. JK, how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything creative to add about I'm going to use 1, 2, 7 as well. One of them's going to get a nice trip. I just don't know which one it's going to be. I mean, I don't think they're going to go too fast. I don't think they're going to ding dong. I think they could ding dong, but I don't think they will. I think one of them will kind of probably take back, and it's just one of those situations where one of them ends up loose. I just don't know who it'll be. And I'm going to use.
You're just upset if you have Cullen J and you take the blinkers off and then you draw the rail. Ball is
exactly.
Like what the.
So I don't want. I'm setting myself up for not getting frustrated. I'll use the 8 Freeport Joe as well. The other thing too is just getting Lasix back on. I think helps. I thought the last race was actually okay considering, but I'm going to spread in this one as well.
1, 2, 7, 8 were the numbers I'm writing down. Do you want to grade them at all or name a top pick?
No.
That's good. That's fine. That's why I ask. Just so I get it captured correctly in the notes. Let's move on to race number 8 on the card. This is the aforementioned Grade 3 Robert B. Lewis Stakes, a race that Bob Baffert favorites have won the last 7 of, according to a note from Brad Free in Daily Racing Form. That's a trend I'm going to buck.
I believe 13 overall too.
13, just the 13 wins the lucky 13 wins in this race. Michelle, will Baffert make it 8 in a row and 14 overall here?
Well, I do really like Desert Gate in here. Even though we haven't seen him since October, he only missed the month of November in training, and he has been putting all the Baffert horses through their paces. Anyone that you'd like, you like Butane? Yeah, this is who his workmates been. Every single horse, and he outworks them. He is a good horse. So it's not like he's out there just getting his head jerked off every single weekend and not, and getting beat up by the good horses. He is outworking a lot of these good horses. So I think that Desert Gate, very, very playable in here. He's definitely my top selection. I think Intrepido has been coming along really well. We actually worked out of the gate with him in company with a colt that we really liked the other day, and they were heads up. So I think this horse is coming in to this race back to a track that he really likes. He's a Grade 1 winner over it. So I think both of those are big positives. Looking at him, I feel like the mile is probably right up his alley. And once he gets stretched out, he's probably less effective. So that's a great return to the races spot for him. If I'm going to give you a random horse, if you got more money, it would be the 7 Secured Freedom for Tim Yakteen. They thought really highly of this colt. Practical Joke, you don't necessarily think of as a route horse, but Tim Yakteen, for some reason, seems to get every ounce of ground out of them. He's been on the Derby trail with a Derby favorite before. In Practical Move, you get 2 sprints to a route. Obviously, we're tough. We're talking first time versus winners, and he's got Grade 1 winners in here, but there's also maidens in this field. So in that order, I would prefer Desert Gate, Intrepido, and then Secured Freedom.
I think I'd be accused of a host fail, Michelle, if I didn't ask you the name of your runner who was working heads up with Intrepido, for those of us who like to use various forms of stable mail. May I pry?
His name is Call Me Corey.
Call Me Corey.
And that work is available on First TV.
There you go. Perfect. We'll definitely be taking a look. I'm with you on your third selection. I just thought Secured Freedom had an opportunity to buck the trend. JK and I did a whole other video about this. You can find it elsewhere on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. Just seems like a horse to me that I think is going to have the opportunity to stretch out at least as far as this. Not so sure about the 1.25 miles down the road, but
yeah, right.
I thought you'd get a better than should be price. And then I'm not fading Desert Gate, progressive profile, reportedly working well. Now it's more than reportedly. Michelle tells us how well this one's been working. Baffert definitely, uses those scrimmages in a way where I feel like the horse that's outworking the others is generally one you want to keep on side. Now, JK, in our video the other day, you had an interesting one in here. Has your opinion evolved at all? Where are you in the Lewis?
No, I mean, the confidence shown by Bob Baffert with Cherokee Nation on a number of occasions on it, to me, says a lot. And showing up in another stake race like this, I know the time is limited when you're trying to get a horse like this into the Kentucky Derby or onto the Kentucky Derby trail. You got to kind of be aggressive, but I'm going to give Cherokee Nation a shot here just based on the aggression this horse. And the horse has some okay numbers. His last 2 races weren't great, but I thought he had some excuses. So I'm going to pick that one on top. Desert Gate, just so consistent at 4 different distances. Basically runs the same figure every time. You like to see that from a horse. And then I'm not getting beat by just cover up everything else. I'm not getting beat in a dirt race by an Into Mischief out of Stellar Wind. I refuse to allow that to happen to me in a dirt race. And then I agree. Secure Freedom is more of a B type for me just because of the stretch out. It's going to get, that there's at least one Baffert that's going to go and be very aggressive. So, the pace is going to be honest. And, but I do want Secured Freedom as a B type.
So Plutarch is the horse that JK was referencing. Yeah, that's the 2. So
I don't think it was the turf that moved him up last time. I think it was the distance. This is a horse that might not be able to win a prep, but then he's going to be able to win the Travers, or even if he gets in the Derby, he just wants more ground, right?
Interesting. And that sometimes can be an explanation when horses are campaigned in that sort of herky-jerky between dirt and turf. It can have to do with the distance more than the surface sometime. Did you have a comment? You made a little face, Michelle, when JK was talking about his top pick, Cherokee Nation. Did you have something you wanted to share with the class?
No, no.
You like him too?
I love a maiden versus winners.
Okay. There's that face again. Okay, so now we know what that's about. Let's get on to the pay leg here. Really important race for all of these sequences we've been talking about, whether it's the turf pick 3, the blade pick 3, the double, the sunset 6, the pick 6. We're going downhill for the Sweet Life with 100,000 in the pot. And JK, we'll ask you the key question when it comes to all these late picks. How are we going to get paid?
Yeah, I'm gonna use 5 in here, but there's one I want to talk about specifically. I'm gonna use 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. The one though is gonna be my top choice in here, Hypergamy or Hypergamy. One of the reasons I fell in love with the down the hill races is that fun dynamic that it feels like the most rewarding angle in racing. At least it did for a very long time. That milers just couldn't quite get it together cutting back, just love down the hill, and it works more than most pet tricks, blinkers off, blah 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 blah. So it's a rewarding one. This is a horse who was quick enough on debut to be close enough going 5, so there's obviously a little bit there, and then just can't quite get it together going the mile. Did win the maiden going a mile and did it wire to wire, so I love a speed horse, a miler cutting back. I just think that this cutback is going to be huge for Hypergamy, and that'll be my top choice. It's a pet trick down the hill that just kind of always works.
All right, something very interesting here I have to point out. So you're going 5 deep, and you're not picking Baffert in the last. You did pick Baffert, but you didn't pick the Baffert favorite in the previous race. Is there something we need to know about you? Who are you, and what have you done with Jonathan Kinchin?
Well, is the downhill turf course the downhill dirt course now?
Obviously, you didn't see Baffert's crazy winner the other day down the hill, right? Where that horse was 25 lengths behind, and you're hopeless, and then all of a sudden he at the end and looked great. Who was that? Greenwich Village.
Yes, Greenwich Village. In all seriousness, we all know that our friend with the silver hair is one of those types that gets bet blindly, right? It's like Chad in a race in New York. And if you can find a chance to completely toss one of them while everyone else will be using and including, there's a lot of equity to be picked up there in races like that.
I was going to use as a backup number 6, Hamika, just because I do also reflexively bet against Baffert on the turf, but there's enough turf blood out here, I think, being by Curlin with a second Dam, who was a winner on the green, just might be the most talented horse. I wanted to keep on side if I could. I picked La Vive Lumiere on top, figuring could get the right setup. And then yours sincerely, the 3 runner, dead heated with that one. 2 back, beat several of these when shortened up to 6 last time. I thought might be well suited by the downhill. I was 2, 3, and 6 here. Michelle, how do you see it?
I was on JK's bandwagon. I think Hypergamy is the horse to beat in here on the turn back and distance. I'm also another person that stone cold loves and will almost bet blindly a miler cutting back to the 6.5 down the hill. So have to use her. I think La Ville Lumiere on the same kind of aspect, and she also broke her maiden sprinting going 5. So she actually is capable of going shorter. And she's coming out of a stakes win last time out where she looked fantastic. And the horses that she beat, Peanut Butter Bomb, Billy loves that horse. Like he says she's going to be a stakes winner this year. So I think she beat a pretty good field that day. So for me, I feel like those are both horses you have to use. And the, what's her name? Mohaven from John Sadler's barn. She is Calbred versus are these all Calbreds? No, okay, good. Whew, I was like Calbred versus Open Company. But she looked great in the Golden State Juvenile. I think the distance should be up her alley. I feel like the Yopons have been running really good on the grass here. And so for me, Mohaven, also just selfishly, we loved this filly at the sale. So I want her to do good because like every time she does good in my heart, I feel like, oh, look, I could have picked out a good horse if we had more money.
It makes sense. If you can't buy him, you might as well still bet on him.
That doesn't work in Kentucky when there's too much money, but you go to a Calbred sale and you think, I've got $150,000 to spend. I'm going to be able to buy something nice, right? And this one just goes like, and you're thinking, oh crap. So I love to see her do really well. And she is really nice. I mean, she works good. She looks good. She just hasn't done anything wrong. I think that she's going to really like the turf. So I also want to include her.
1, 2, and 10 for Michelle to close things out. I do just want to go back with 1 minute. I want to go back, JK, to Desert Gate for a second. You're including but not keying, or are you against? I just want to.
No, I'm using 1, 2, 3. I'm using the horse. Like, yeah, the consistency is a little too much for me. So, like, you know, and when I say that, the consistency meaning that he kind of always shows up and runs his race, and then, you know, Baffert being Baffert, a little fine tuning here and there, you know, an extra, you know, a change of equipment, a little move here, move there, a little tactic here, some good information from Hernandez and about maybe how the horse wants to be ridden could make that horse kind of jump over to the next level, right? But it's hard to argue the horse just kind of always shows up and runs.
And I really like that info from Michelle regarding that one as well. That does make me want to use that one an extra time or two in some of these various combinations. Godspeed if you're playing. Thanks if you're watching this on the In the Money Media YouTube channel or through social media from our friends at First Santa Anita or the home team. Michelle and JK, thank you guys so much for being here today. And may you win all your photos.